This is going to be the absolute best Unholy Death Knight build you're going to get in Prominence II Hasturian Era. We're going to be looking at it from start to finish. So, starting with the armour, Plaguebringer. That's right, you could just go straight in. I mean, Iron Helmet is technically what you'll get to start with, and then a Hood of Death's Call, but this is all so easy to make, I'm just going to show it to you all together. Get your Iron Helmet, get a smithing table, make a Hood of Death's Call. Death's Call. That is chains, leather, and bones. And then you make an Unholy rune, which is literally cobblestone and a bone. Put it all together, you get the Helm of the Plaguebringer, etc. This armor set is going to give you unholy power, physical damage, and armor. It's really, really good. Regarding the weapons, we can dual wield. Not dual wield. Well, we're going to use both hands, but it's a two-hander, so I'm not dual wielding. Great iron rune blades. And basically, you can get an iron, diamond, netherite, ruby, and aeternium version. Lastly, but not least, we will be going with Frostmourne, and just go with rune blades literally up until then. And they give blood, frost, and unholy power, and gives you your festering strike ability, which you'll be using a lot of. On your accessories, it's going to be Echoes of the Damned and Signets of Death. You want to be looking in like large dungeons from When Dungeons Arise and even woodland mansions in order to get these accessories. But again, it's giving unholy and physical damage. And as an Unholy Death Knight, this is obviously what we're going to be wanting. One really interesting thing is that we actually can benefit from using mounts as an Unholy Death Knight. And the one I would recommend getting is Nightmare, which is from the Mythic Mounts mod. So in order to find Nightmare, you can actually go to Soul Sand Valleys and Basalt Deltas, to find this mount, if you wish to. Otherwise, you can just use normal horses, and having a farm for them could be really, really valuable in doing that. For the enchants we're going to put on said gear, we want sharpness and smite, of course, all your general protections, protection, blast protection, etc. Ambush, so that if you drink an invisibility potion, which I would recommend using, you can do extra damage. Echo, chance to do AoE damage. Soul Devourer, you get more XP per kill. And then we've got things like Cowardice, when you're at full health, I don't know if that made any logical sense, but you know what I mean, you get the strength effect. Bag of Souls increases the amount of experience you gain relative to the level of enchantment. Spell Volatility, increasing crit damage. Amplify Spell, increasing base crit damage. And Decaying, increasing the damage dealt by unholy and blood spell powers. So Decaying is really important as it's specific for unholy spells. Don't think I've mentioned it, but the book you'll be using is the Tome of Unholy Teachings. You just get a basic Warrior's Codex and add a rune carved stone and a Holy Rune, which are both really easy to make. So this is actually a really easy build to put together. You could pretty much go straight in with the Plaguebringer set, straight in with the Unholy Teachings, and also the Rune Blades here. So it's going to be really, really easy for an early game build. The accessories, which obviously you won't be able to get so soon, well, some of them you will be a plastic drinking hat to eat and drink faster. What are we eating and drinking, you may ask? Well, like I said, invisibility potions, health flasks, and Endercon G. This is the best food, of course. This is going to give you resistance, regen, health boost, comfort, and more max health for some great survivability. Speaking of survivability, I'd also recommend going with a Charm of Regeneration for your trinket and a Turtle Bracer to mitigate damage. You can go for an Amethyst version if you're up against magic. The running shoes are really good where you get extra step height when sprinting, and it just generally increases your movement speed when sprinting anyway, and a power glove to give more strength. Use mending whenever you get it, but after that it's always best to go to the hardening catalysts, which make your gear completely unbreakable. So now then, what are we actually going to be doing for our rotation? Well, we're going to be starting off with Death Grip, if you need. This is going to grip the target, pulling them towards you and giving them slowness. So if they're not already next to you, then you can Death Grip them to you. After that, you're going to use your Cyclonic Cleave, which is from the talents. We're taking you through the talents very shortly. Violently swing your weapon around yourself, moving forward, dealing damage to nearby enemies, and it does scale with physical damage and haste. After that, we're going to use our Festering Strike, dealing damage and doing unholy damage. And then we're just going to use Death Coil as well. So Death Coil, Festering Strike, and Cyclonic Cleave is basically the 3 attacks you'll mainly be using. And that's pretty much it for the unholy rotation that we are doing. Just those 3 main spells. For the talents, this is the build here you're going to go with. You can pause the video now to have a look, or I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So basically, you're going for the Rogue's Path, giving us some haste and physical damage. We go down and get some lethality, physical damage, etc. Basically, take us down to the bottom, along the bottom here, getting some healing as well, and then going into Decaying Devotion, basically a devotion to death, abandoning arcane and fire powers to learn the decaying magics of blood and unholy, giving us physical damage, unholy power, and also blood, but obviously we are an unholy Death Knight in this situation. Death Knight abilities and Runeblade attacks deal 50% more damage while riding a horse mount. And that is where I mentioned that if you are on a horse, you're going to be doing a lot more damage in this build. It's not absolutely necessary, but more damage is more damage, you know? I mean, it's kind of is what it is. And that's how it kind of just is for Unholy. If you don't like that, then try out my Frost build, and that's in the playlist you'll see at the end of this video shortly. So we then come up here, get some, you know, armor efficiency, some health, etc. And then we just get basically a load of spell crit. That's what we're getting on this firepower. If you're thinking, well, we don't want fire, well, don't worry, you get all the spell crit from here, which is what we're actually getting it for. On your Frostmourne, we're coming in from the left of Necrotic Infusion, which is basically Unholy. And then we come up to the middle here, go up to the left, up to the middle again, up to the left, and then up and up. So basically you just follow it all the way to the left on Frostmourne. And that is pretty much it, guys. That is how you're going to play Unholy Death Knight in Prominence II Hasturian Era. Again, like I said, if you are looking for other builds, I've done Blood, I've done Frost, Death Knights, and I've also done, you know, Warrior, Rogue, Monk, Mage, Paladin. I've pretty much done them all at this point. If you would like to see them, check out the playlist you see on screen.